What's up, everybody? Musings with Morales. It's a very good night. Got a good friend, a very brilliant young fighter,
Appreciate that.
and I'm happy to call you a new friend.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Raja, the clone Jackson. If you haven't heard of this young man, make sure that you check out his. I guess you got some YouTube clips out there of some of your recent fights.
Yeah, I got a few.
Yep. Raja,
Yeah.
thanks for joining us
Hey,
tonight.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. So I got to tell a little story, kind of like how we met.
Okay.
So I want to say maybe about 6 weeks ago, I ran into some mental and maybe just spiritual challenges that I really needed a way to kind of release some steam, uh, maybe even gain some confidence, uh, maybe challenge myself. I'm 47 years old. I'll be
Oh wow. Yeah.
48 in a couple weeks here. So I just kind of wanted to prove some things to myself while getting myself mentally healthy.
Mm.
And not to say that I've got problems that I'm unhealthy in that regard, but definitely needed some work. So my son-in-law, Sovan, the Prince of Cambodia.
Yeah. Shout out to him. He's cool.
Yeah, man, great young fighter, MMA, Muay Thai. He's been on the podcast before, and he keeps telling me, "Hey, Dad, come and work out. Get some of this out." On top of that, you just met Paco, our producer,
Mhm.
and every time we're on the podcast, he tells me, "Hey, go get your ass to the gym, Morales, because you're getting fat." Right? So,
Yeah.
I looked into some of the gyms that Sovan introduced me to. I found myself at the Metroflex gym in Hawaiian Gardens with Team Body Shop, Antonio McKee and his family there, and I ran into you
Yeah.
first day. And I was sharing with you earlier, I may have been quick to judge the thought that I thought you were in that day. You seemed to uh, have some thoughts going on that day. And I was like, oh man, I don't know if I should go introduce myself to this guy or not. But as soon as I introduced myself, I found myself saying, like, you know, get into the book before you judge a cover.
Yeah.
Very kind person.
Appreciate
You
you,
opened
man.
up right to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would say a week or two later, I ended up on the other side of your glove.
Nah, man. You be throwing some good combos and stuff like I was saying earlier, man.
I,
You really be thumping that
I
sauce, man.
appreciate that,
Yeah.
and maybe you're just trying to flatter. I don't know,
No.
but I'm looking forward to gaining some skills, and
Yeah.
I can say that you and the team are really teaching me a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe a week or so later, I knew that you had a fight coming up,
Yeah.
and said, "Hey, what's going on? Like, where's it at?" And you're like, "I got some tickets on me, and come on out, right?"
Yeah. I appreciate you for getting them too.
Yeah, man, it was a blast. I gotta tell you, but uh, you had your opponent canceled on you.
Yeah, yeah. He didn't make weight, and he didn't even show up. To be honest, it was a very it was very tough news. It was a good. I had a good camp. Thank
Yeah,
you to the whole team. Savant, he was a really big help, and Jake, Babian, congratulations to him.
man, that
Yeah,
was
he did. Yeah, it was
insane.
crazy, beautiful TKO or knockout, whatever, which one, but it was nice. And just everybody on the team, AJ, Coach Antonio McKee, and uh, Adrian, just everybody. Daryl, if
Yeah,
I didn't say your name, just the whole team
yeah.
was a huge help. I haven't fought in a minute. It's been a while. I was injured for a little bit. I went to Colombia for stem cells. They healed me up. It was a very good experience. And yeah, and I was prepared. I was really prepared for this fight. I was very excited, and to have that news, sucked because everybody was asking me, "Oh, when's your next fight?" and
Day
all that.
before, right? Only the day before you found this out?
I found it out on the day actually.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, if it was the day before, I would have been a little more happier because I wouldn't have to cut as much weight. But
Oh, you
still,
were still cutting.
yeah, I was still cutting, not as much, but still like it still sucked.
The end of the road, which is probably the
Exactly.
hardest
Yeah.
pounder. How many did you have to lose that day?
Probably like two or three,
Yeah.
but still, like it still sucked. Those last 2 or 3 pounds is brutal, especially if you're thirsty and all that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, but yeah, I was really excited, because I love fighting. I just love the sport, and it doesn't matter what it is, boxing, MMA. I just love fighting. It's fun, and to hear that he didn't make weight. He didn't even basically. It just tells me he didn't really care. So
Yeah, I mean, I gotta ask, and we're gonna jump into kind of the whole story of Raja growing up and how you got to this point of a canceled fight. But I, I couldn't help but think, and even I reached out to you, I think the day before or something, and how you doing, and how did you feel? I mean, aside from disappointment, like what does that do to you when you've gone through so much to get to that day? And I can't help but say it, but so maybe I'm being, biased or opinionated here, but did you feel disrespected? Did you feel like, any anger towards the opponent? What was going through your mind?
um yeah, there was some like animosity because like I said, like I just felt like he didn't really care. Like he should have just made the weight and everything. I was disappointed. I was very pissed. I'm not gonna lie. Like I just it sucked really, honestly,
Yeah,
because like I said, like I trained hard for it. Um, and it was a good that was a good way to like just showcase like where I was and where I am.
yeah,
But everything happens on God's time. You know what I mean? So like that's where that's the like the positive mindset I try to keep about
that's
it. You
good,
know what I'm saying?
man. That's
But
that's good. You can take it that
yeah,
way. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but honestly, I was disappointed because like as you know, like I went out of town. I went to Memphis to visit my family, and that was that would have been a very big relief to get that out the way and
yeah,
then go. I felt like I wanted to earn that trip.
yeah,
So and to relax, but obviously like now that didn't happen. So it's very nerve wracking.
yeah. So that would have been kind of a bonding time, talking about
Exactly.
recent
Yeah.
milestone and accomplishment. Yeah, I
Exactly.
feel you, man. I feel you.
Yeah.
So I again, I met you. I kind of made a judgment. I hope you don't mind me saying that. Like, you seemed in deep thought. I don't want to say you seemed angry, but I was. Hey, I'm an old man. I was like, oh man, should I go up to this guy and introduce myself? Instantly regretted making any judgment at all. Uh, your serious face turned to a smile. You introduced yourself as Raja, and then it went back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me about kind of early days of Raja Jackson. Like, where'd you grow up? Who were some of the influences? What were some of the major moments in life for you?
Um. So I was a really bad kid. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. Like I grew up. I moved around a lot.
Hmm.
Um. I'm born in Kentucky. I moved to Memphis. Then I moved to Cali with my dad and stuff.
Okay.
So it's a really long story, but yeah, I have a older brother and an older sister on my mom's side. Shout out to them. I love them. My brother, he's on my mom's side. He was one of my biggest influence on life. He taught me a lot of stuff before my dad did, and he showed me a lot growing up. Like I used to watch Bruce Lee. That's one of my biggest inspirations. And a lot of kung fu movies. Like one of my favorite one was called The Seven Deadly Venoms.
I got the haircut, man.
But Jackie Chan, Jet Li, all of them was he showed me all those movies as a kid, so I
Hmm.
used to love watching that. And but now he's doing time in prison, but for self defense, they railroad him. They did him really bad. He's not
Yeah.
he's not a criminal. Honestly, he's not that type of person.
Wrong place,
E-
wrong
e-
time, and
exactly.
defend
Yep.
yourself. And
Yep.
when you
Yep.
can take care of yourself,
Exactly.
shit happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but as a kid, living in that environment, you meet certain kids and they're bad too. They've gone through a lot of stuff. I used to do a whole bunch of stupid crap, bro. Like I don't even want to get into it, but but
You're in good
yeah,
company here, man.
yeah, I
For
appreciate,
sure.
yeah. But like as a 10-year-old, bro, like I smoked paper, bro. I was smoking weed. I was doing a whole bunch of stuff, like
Mhm.
what I'm saying, just doing bad, because I was bored, and living in the South like that. There's nothing to do. Either if you don't pick up like fighting or music or anything like that, you either crime or death.
Oh, man.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I have a lot of elementary school friends that I grew up with that's out there. That's exactly what they're doing. They're either doing music and crime or they're just selling drugs or or dead.
So you need
Honestly,
to have like productive
exactly. Yeah,
hobbies
yeah,
or passions
yeah.
to be able to survive in that
Exactly.
environment.
Yeah, and that's one thing. I want to show like the young generation, like you can you don't have to fall victim to that, because I know what it's like to not have stuff, like I not have no nice things, and I know what it's like to have nice things.
Yeah.
That's why I'm very grateful for my dad, and getting me when he did, and taking me in and showing me a lot of love and a lot of kindness, and he does a lot for me. Even now, he does a lot, so I appreciate him. Even though he talks a whole bunch of shit on his fucking dog, like yeah, he embarrassed the shit on me sometimes,
I
but
caught some of the recent
yeah,
ones, and
yeah,
I don't know if you want to talk about those,
yeah,
but
yeah, we can,
there
yeah.
was some pretty funny stuff that
Yeah,
came
he's
up.
hilarious. He's hilarious. That should be embarrassing the shit out of me though. But it is what it is. I think that shit's funny too. But yeah, but he's a really really dope person, and I'm very grateful and happy that I'm his son, honestly, and I could do my best to follow in his footsteps.
Yeah,
So
that's great. So he was a dad. I
yeah, yeah,
mean,
he was a dad. Yeah,
when you talk about the gratitude, you talked about his help and his guidance, and that's what dad does,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And I know that dads come in different forms sometimes too.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, you know, there were a time where my dad was away, and during that time when he was away, I found coaches and teachers that kind of led me the right way or kept me on the productive path. But like you, I found myself in trouble in certain periods of my life as well.
yeah.
So no judgment there, but I'm glad that you brought up kind of your purpose or your desire to help the younger generation. How old are you, Raja?
I just turned 25 May 2nd. So
25 May 2nd.
yeah.
So when you talk about the support that you could offer or are offering to the younger generation, like what do you define as a younger generation, or who needs your help?
That's a good question. I would say partially kids that's my age, but uh like Antonio's younger son Mason, his
Yes.
generation, and kids a little older than him, like
Yeah.
18, 16, early teens, kids like that, because there's a lot of people out there that's guiding them the wrong way or whatever, and they just don't. I feel like they don't know. It's just bad, Same with like the women. Like there's just not a lot of good like guidance out there.
Yeah. No.
Um, and yeah, so I just feel like they just need one another good person to look at. They need to show them that they could do it too. It's never too late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I feel you, man.
never give up.
Yeah.
On their dreams or whatever.
It reminded me of a recent interaction I had. Sometimes I'll go speak at high schools, do their job fairs, things like this, do mock interviews, right? And I just recently went to Bellflower High School, which is right up the road here, and they had a job fair where they asked leaders from the community to come in and do mock interviews for their students. And man, I met some people. They were future doctors for sure. They had like 4 point something GPAs. And then I had a kid. He's a young athlete, and I mean, he immediately told me that I'm not an athlete anymore because I had a run in with the coach, and like I could just tell where he was coming from. Like he told me about the men in his family all locked up, doing bad things, being a part of the life, and it was really interesting to me. He was such a smart young man, but he presented himself in a way that was very genuine, but it wasn't appropriate for an interview. So we kind of got that out of the way really quick. I just told him, like, hey, man, like, you knew you were here for this. Like, you're not dressed appropriate. Um, your resume could use a lot of work. This is what I think could be done. We just got that out of the way. And then I talked to him more on the level. And I didn't share a whole lot about myself, but he asked me, and I thought this was such a profound question from somebody just in a half hour interaction. He said, when did you decide that you're going to go legit? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, how did he make that? Like, how did that reveal?
Mm,
Like, what did he see in me that said that there was a time where I wasn't on that road?
yeah,
And he clearly saw that I'm on the right road now, but still, there's the genuine nature that I came with him that he recognized. Like, you weren't always like this.
yeah,
So I enjoy that kind of work as well. Are you doing anything like that? Are you going to high schools, going to junior, middle schools, things like this, talking to kids and sharing your story?
Oh, that's also another good question. That's funny that you say that. Kinda. I'm really close to both of like actually three of my coaches in high school. Shout out to them. Shout out to Coach Mark and Adam. He doesn't like to be called coach, and
Hmm.
Coach Paramo. I'll go there and I'll train with them sometimes, and then the kids there, I'll just tell them. Like, I don't do no seminars or
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
like that. But when I train with them, I just give them like little advice here and there, and
eye
tell
level.
exactly
Yeah,
like tell them like, look, if you're doing this, stop, or I wish I could have done this differently.
yeah,
Make sure you don't do that or whatever.
yeah,
I try to guide them in the right way because when I was growing up in high school, I took it serious, but I wish I took it even more serious. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
So I feel like I would have probably be even better than I am now. Because I'm still learning. I still have a lot to go.
Hmm.
So, but I feel like if at that time, if I really like locked in and did what I had to do, I'd already be like probably like champion right now or something. But like I said, it's all on God's time, and it is for a reason. I keep that in mind, but um, I try to like guide them in that direction. And like I know everybody goes through stuff. I still go through stuff. I'm not the holiest person, or I'm not the what you call a perfect person. I'm really not. I'm far from it. But I just make sure that I give certain advice to kids so they don't fall in the same footsteps as me and be like, damn, I wish I could have done this or whatever. Because I
Yeah,
see there's a lot of potential and there's a lot of like talent right now that's in high school that I've worked with, and I'm like, damn, like that's
yeah,
awesome. So I want them to be better than I was, and even better than what I can see them doing. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah. So you talked about some of the challenges when you were in the South, right?
yeah.
Uh, and I've talked to Zovan many times about this, but it, not the holiest guy here either. You can look behind me and see all these bottles. I
Yeah,
drank them, man.
yeah, yeah. I feel you. Yeah,
um, but I don't know if it's me getting older or just getting wiser. Um, I probably need to take these down.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because I'm out here on a podcast talking to people, talking to young men like you that are trying to make a positive change in this world. Let me ask you, some of those challenges that you face, you see those as setbacks to where you're at now.
yeah,
What do you think about the mentors, the leaders, the fighters, the people the athletes that people look up to that I'm not going to drop these guys' names because I'm not trying to create no beef with people, but
yeah,
they go and they fight a beautiful fight and they get on Instagram or TikTok right after and they put a blunt in their mouth and then get on there and talk about like this is what I do after I train, after I fight. What
yeah,
do you think about these people and what they're doing to the potential for those kids that you're trying to, talk about the right path and about, you know, the right guidance
yeah.
from man upstairs?
That's a good question. Also, I would say take it as face value, and like I said, no one's perfect. You know what I mean? Like honestly, I might do that one day.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like I understand that, but that's why I say I tell these kids like even though you may see a fighter or somebody doing that, like you don't have to do it,
yeah,
or you can yeah, you can learn from them, and their mistakes. Like they got to where they were for their work ethic and everything, but you don't have to do that. Like
yeah.
you can be cooler. You probably be honestly, I feel like you'd be cooler not doing it, to be honest.
I do too. And again, I'm not somebody to say holier than thou to
Exactly. Yeah.
anybody,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I'm really not. So I
I
feel
met
like
Coach Antonio McKee about 6 weeks ago.
yeah.
And, is the little time that I've had with him, he's made very profound impact on my way of thinking.
Yeah. Same
First thing
here.
he
Same.
said, it was like, hey, you're 47, man. Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're not going to talk me out of it. He said, come on in and
Yeah.
let's see. And he said, do you do this? Do you have any vices? And he said, you got to drop them.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a drink since that day. Well,
Yeah.
I take that back. I told you earlier. I had a glass of wine with my wife on our anniversary. But I'll tell you that every time I sit down at this podcast, I probably get a little bit tilted.
Yeah.
in most cases.
Ex-
So
yeah.
I think, folks like Antonio, folks like you, it comes from experience, right?
Yeah.
It's not because you're saying like, hey, I've never done it. It's because you're saying like, did it serve me?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, man, that you're trying to make that impact on
Yeah.
the youth.
I
You,
appreciate that.
you don't have to do it, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to follow the lead.
Yeah.
Like you said, cool or cooler,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. Everybody goes through something. Everybody struggles with something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's gonna be struggles, but you don't have to struggle in the same way as somebody else. And you can like you can go farther if you don't do what they do. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Uh like I said, I'm not the perfect person. I'm really not. But
Have you ever said to your dad like, you used to do this, so I could do it too? Has there been any occasions like that?
you know, it's funny. Like I never said it, but I've done it. You know what I mean? Because he did it. I'm like, damn, he's doing that shit, so I might as well do it too. You
Yeah, yeah,
know? So,
yeah.
so, and he was one of the best. So like, I never told him all that I'm gonna do it because you did it. But it was like I was rebellious like that though,
Yeah.
and you know, yeah. So, uh, you don't have to you don't have to do it because they did, and like it's crazy because people like that they do make it look cool and everything, but like I said, you can be cooler without it, honestly. And I wish somebody told me that somebody said, I don't know, I forget who it was, but I wish somebody told me when I was younger. They used to just tell me like don't smoke or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But they never told me why, like,
That's right.
or they never told me like, oh, it feels really good. Like
Hmm.
drugs feel good, but it will fuck up your life. I wish. Oh, can I cuss? Okay,
Man, you can
okay,
say
okay,
anything you
okay.
want here.
But yeah, I wish somebody told me straight up like that. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it feels good, but it'll fuck up your life. I remember somebody said that. I forget what it was. Shout out to him. It was like some rapper or something. He said
Hmm.
said the same thing. He was like
Yeah.
said the same thing. Like, drugs feel good. I wish somebody told me drugs feel good, but
Yeah.
it'll fuck up your life, and it will. So,
I
you
mean,
know,
what do you think about cannabis? Let's just use that one because
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
lot of people out. I mean,
yeah,
this is what I've been seeing from
exa-
some fighters. There's a lot
yeah,
of cannabis, and I think even Wiz Khalifa's training in Thailand, and he's
exactly,
got a
yeah,
line of
yeah,
shorts and gear.
yeah.
What do you think about it? And like,
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you asked because I was. Come on, man. Like I lived here. Like I
yeah,
said, I smoked paper and weed like when I was like 10. That was the
yeah,
first time I ever tried weed when I was 10. So
hmm,
I enjoy it. There's I go through a lot of stuff. Like I said, like honestly, my mom, she passed away when I was 21. It was
oh man, I'm sorry, that's
I
recent.
appreciate it. She was she was very 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 we were very close. She was a very very cool person. I could tell her anything. She was like one of my number one, honestly, I would say, like, supporters and fans and
Hmm.
everything. She used to tell me all the time that I'll do great things and I'll be very great and I'm very good at what I do. And I
I
appreciate
can
it.
see that too, man,
And I really
for sure.
thank you, bro. I appreciate it. And I know other kids probably lost their moms when they were younger, so I keep that in mind. And they probably had it way worse than I did. It sucked the way she went. I wish, I felt like, I wasn't there to protect her. It was random, like violence. Like I said, like
Oh
growing
man,
up in the South,
yeah.
she was arguing with this lady, and the lady was crazy, and she ended up like stabbing her to death. It
Oh
was
my
yeah,
God, man.
it was bad. But my she was a very tough woman. That's part of like where I get my skills from is her. So I appreciate her, and God rest her soul. But she was she she was very a very big part of my life. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry. What was the question again? I'm
No, man.
sorry.
This is.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing,
yeah. I
first of
appreciate.
all.
Yeah,
But that's a tough
yeah. It was
that's a
very
tough deal, man.
okay.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. I'm sorry.
21 years old.
Yeah,
Like you said, there are people who lose their mothers and they never got a chance to really know them and get the support that you've had. But that's such a horrible
yeah.
story that you just told, man.
Yeah.
Like
I
I can see
appreciate
how
it.
it's impacted
Yeah,
you. And
it really affected me. Like, honest, people think like, oh, it'll get easier and stuff, and that's part of the reason why like I probably had that face on or whatever. Like,
yeah, I feel you, man.
it does mess with me because like um I never shared it openly because I'm not really big on social media. That's part
Yeah,
of the reason why. But
yeah,
I used to be in school, like I was a class clown and stuff. I was like you think my dad's funny. Like I feel like I was I'm partially just as funny, or he's fucking hilarious. But anyway, but
Man, when we're in class or when we're training, like you're hilarious too, man.
I
Like especially
appreciate
some of
that.
the banter that
Yeah, yeah,
you and some of the guys have
yeah,
is just like,
yeah.
man,
Yeah,
it's
they're
hilarious.
fucking they're hilarious too. I love the team. They keep my spirits high, and they do a very good job of fighting and learning when to play and when not to play.
Yeah, yeah,
It's very cool. Like I love the team. We're like a family. But yeah, when she passed, it just fucked me up, man. Cause like she was she was like part of my motivation.
yeah,
I wanted to do everything for her. I always we me and her used to talk about it all the time. And then for her to pass like that sucked. And then the last time I talked to her is what really fucks me up is like I was sleepy, and she was like about to vent to me, and I didn't want to talk.
you were just
I was just
put
like,
out. Yeah,
exactly. I was like, oh, I don't want to talk about this stuff right now. I want to go to sleep. I'm tired right now. And then after that she died. I'm like, fuck. So like my message out there is to like no matter what, no matter the case and stuff, always love your family, and hug them, hug anybody, your mom, your dad, even if you're going through stuff with them and stuff, because you see what my dad does sometimes.
yeah,
Sometimes that should be pissing me off, but at the end of the day, he does so much stuff for me. So I'm like, fuck, I still love, and he can go tomorrow too,
yeah,
or I could.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he
Any one of us can. We don't
exactly
know our last breath. You're right.
exactly.
You're
So
right.
uh
But yeah, let's
yeah,
tap in a little bit and just you said she was a big part of your motivation, but clearly she still is
I
a
appreciate
big
that.
part of
Yeah.
your motivation, and use that as your strength, brother.
Yeah, I
Like
appreciate that.
you have good memories, good influence,
Yeah,
good friendship, partnership with your mother.
yeah,
That's not gone.
yeah. I appreciate
You know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah, I
Carry
really
that
do.
forever, man.
Yeah, I
Yep.
definitely do. So basically, I remember the question now, but so honestly, like right after that, I had to like smoke. I just smoked weed.
Hmm.
It didn't, obviously it didn't like, it didn't fix the problem, but it that I had to like just relax. You know what I mean, and not think for a minute, like, and just I don't know. I had to get like, I don't want to say high because like what I'm saying,
It
but like
numbed you. It relaxed
exactly, yeah,
you.
it
It
relaxed me. But
took you away for that
yeah,
time, right?
yeah. So
Were
and
you fighting at that time too?
yeah, yeah, I
You were.
was, yeah. I was amateur still. I think I had like, I was about to do like my third amateur fight. I can't remember, but
Mm,
so yeah, I smoke weed sometime from time to time, so I understand if anybody else does. But what I make sure to tell the kids, like, you know, you don't have to do that shit.
yeah,
Like, you probably be better than me not doing it. Honestly, like that's how I feel. Some people, some, because I know they look at certain athletes, they do it and they say
yeah,
like, I don't want to put nobody out there too, but some athletes can do it. Like some athletes have done it and they
yeah. They're
become
killing
champion.
it,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
I used to argue with my dad about that all the time. He's like, "Oh, you can't be champion and smoking weed." I'm like, "Well, this person does."
yeah. I mean,
So
many very popular,
yeah,
especially fighters,
yeah,
are out there and lighting up in
e-
weigh-ins and all
yeah,
that sort of stuff, right?
exactly, yeah,
Um, I guess the part, and I'm just going to be very blunt here. Not with you, but with some of the people I've been seeing is they are, gl- you know, we can talk about a vice, but a vice shouldn't be glorified.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's totally understandable that like somebody has a drink. People sometimes get in fights
yeah,
when they're going through stuff,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
go cause fights. Like not in the ring, not professionally, not amateur, but like out there, right?
yeah,
Um, but that's definitely, in my opinion, not something that we should be putting out there to like, to the extent of it's glorified.
yeah,
We all have weakness.
yeah, exactly,
In my opinion, and again, not holier than thou, that's a weakness. Any vice I have is a weakness for me. It keeps me from
yeah,
focusing on the good things,
yeah,
the productivity, right? And again, at my age now, I see like all the vices I've had that they've only held me back.
yeah,
Um, I mean, I had vices since I was like 12 years old that I carried all the way to this age.
yeah,
And, only now, which is weird, in the last meeting folks like you, meeting folks like Antonio, am I starting to see like how dangerous they are. Does that make sense?
yeah,
So, let's go back to the upbringing. um, you've shared, man, challenges
yeah,
already, and maybe we've answered the question, but biggest challenge in the young days,
Um,
and how did you get through it? Where did you end up with that challenge?
I'd say yeah, the big one of the biggest challenges was like I said before when we was off camera, it was like part of it was the expectation. Um, I wanted to live up to it, but also at the same time, like I guess in the back of my head and like the like talking with my mom like, oh, I can't wait until you do it, whatever. It had got to me a little bit, so it was hard for me to deal with it. I deal with it in stupid ways, but as I got older, like as I grew, I just I'm like fuck it, let's go for it. What's the worst that can happen that if you follow your dreams and stuff. I've
Mhm.
been wanting to fight since I was a young, like 3 years old.
Tell
Um,
us why. I mean, we haven't like said it on the pod yet. We've talked a lot about dad. Who's dad? What
um,
exactly
so
is the expectation you're talking about?
yeah, so when I remember being 3 years old sitting on my mom's lap and he was in Pride at the time. I'll never forget. And he was walking out. I forget who he was fighting though, but I just remember seeing him. She's like, "You see that guy right there?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "That's your dad." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "He's fighting? Like that's really cool." I'm like that, and I
Mm,
knew right then. I'm like, "That's what I want to do too." Like
mm,
that's really cool. I didn't know you can fight like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
I didn't really pay. Like I was 3 years old, so I'm like, and then the fact that I had a dad that was fighting, I thought that was like the coolest thing.
Yeah.
So I knew that. I'm like, okay, that's. And then watching, like, I grew up watching cartoons. I still do, like, like in anime and stuff, like
Hmm.
Naruto and stuff like that. And I always loved fighting. I just love fighting, especially growing up. And so I always had to prove myself too, like growing up. Like if I ever told anybody, oh, my dad is this, they're like, oh, let's fight then. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like every time. So I love fighting. So, and my older brother too, he's a fighter too. Like he was a very good athlete on my mom's side and my dad. Like my older brother on my dad's side, he was at one point he was better than me. He's still
Mm-hmm.
even now. Like sometimes we'll do certain stuff, and I'm like, damn, I nobody throws this combo in the gym. But anyway, but yeah, so growing up with my brothers and stuff, like watching Bruce Lee and Jet Li and stuff like that, and like I'm like this stuff is cool. I always wanted to learn that style too because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would, my dad didn't fight like that,
Hmm.
but if he did, oh my god, like it would have been way different. But
Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean, I gotta say, big fan of your dad.
I appreciate that.
And I actually put a post with the kind of the thumbnail of this episode. I remember him saying this, that like, I can get paid for fighting and not go to jail.
Yeah,
Like, sign me up.
exactly.
That
Yeah,
was some badass shit, man.
yeah,
He was like so genuine
yeah.
and just love fighting.
Yeah, he loved it too. And as
Beast.
it's yeah, it's in the blood. Like AJ too, like it's in his blood too. Like,
Yeah.
he's a big bro. He helps me throughout life and stuff. And I'm very grateful for him and coach always, directing me and guiding me towards the right way and stuff. He could be an asshole though too. He be on my ass about a lot of shit. Like, me and him go
I
back and
caught
forth.
you on push-ups the other day. That was the
Yeah.
longest push-up session ever, man.
Yeah, he makes sure I'm, he wants his team to do good. So
Yeah.
I really do appreciate him. He just drives us everybody to do better, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
he's a really good example. He's one of the best fighters now. He's one of my favorite fighters now, that's doing it. Like he's one of the best to ever do it. And I'm very grateful and very happy to be a part of the team. I always wanted to train with coach. I've been knowing coach since I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Really.
Yeah, yeah. I remember the first time I met him, he even said like he told my dad, "Oh, bring him with me. Let him stay with me." And my dad was like, "Ah, nah." But
Hmm.
I wish honestly my life would have been completely different if I did.
Hmm.
He's a very good teacher. I'm just grateful to be with him now.
Yeah.
But I remember then, like I knew he was one of the best then, Coach Antonio McKee. Like
Yeah.
people don't give him his props
You're
about,
right.
you
You're
know what
right.
I'm saying? Like people don't realize, like even if he, like I believe everything he said, people probably be like, oh no, he just be talking or whatever. But
Oh,
but I always, every time he said anything, I knew it and I believed it and I saw it. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So like I remember when he trained with my dad in Big Bear '07, or it was '06 or so '07. I saw him, everybody in the cage, Tito, everybody that was there. I remember seeing Tito specifically,
Yeah.
yo. He demolished him. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm serious. Like, it was the craziest thing I ever saw,
Yeah.
and I always wanted to train with him. And then, yeah,
Tell me about that. How, like, what did he do on
so
like?
okay,
What
so
was his style to against Tito? Because
um,
Tito was very wrestler,
yeah,
ground and
yep,
pound guy,
yep,
right?
yeah. So it's funny. That's crazy and funny that you say that because the day that it happened, I remember I was with my brother, my older brother. His name is D'Angelo. Shout out to him. He Me and him was in the cage fighting there, and I remember one of my dad's teammates. His name is Brandon. Shout out to him, Big Herc. Um, he was like, "All right, you guys don't hit in the face." He's like, "Y'all hit it." I'm over here mad. I'm like, "Why can't we
You're
hit?"
like, what? Take away all the fun.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, "That's the why we can't hit in the face." But so me and my brother we're sparring, and then I go downstairs. I can't remember why, like to get some water or something. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. But I remember seeing Antonio, my dad, and Tito in the cage, and they were doing basically Shark Tank rounds.
Okay.
And Antonio like stopped Tito's takedown and reversed it. I'm like, what? And Antonio is smaller than him.
Yeah.
And I remember that. I remember he sprawled on him and reversed whatever the hell he was doing. I didn't know
Shit,
exactly.
he shows us every day, right?
Exactly, yeah. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, I can't believe like this small. He's small as hell, and he was like fucking him up. He was fucking up everybody in that cage. I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. And then as time passed, shout out to Mayhem Miller. I trained with him a little bit. He's very cool too. He's like an uncle, and shout out to Congo. Congo's like a uncle too. Like they're honestly, I call them my uncles. They're Tony was like a second dad. Like he's awesome. But fast forward to like 2013, 2014. He's like in his mid 40s, and he was always telling me, "Oh, come on, come train with us and stuff." I went over there, and he was like ripped up in his 40s.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. He was doing all the workouts he was telling everybody else to do.
Making me feel bad right now.
But I don't know. He was like, he even told, like, he even said, like, he got into MMA in his 30s. Like, that's very hard. Bro.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was undefeated for what, 7-8 years. And that's, you got to think about it. That's like in the 30s. That's very difficult.
When people say you're supposed to stop.
Exactly. Yeah. And he was doing those workouts, and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, I was the best." He was like, "I used to give people my leg," and the way he moved, I was like, "Oh man, I believed it. I believed right away." I'm like, "Damn." Yeah. I'm like, I always wanted to train with him. But yeah, so around that time, I was training. My dad had his own gym too. I was training in there. Shout out to Coach Calvin and everybody that was training there and teaching there. I had a blast. Like that's where part of my foundation came from in my high school wrestling. But like I said, I took it serious, but not as serious as I should have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And part of it was at the same time, like I didn't see it then. Like I didn't believe it as much as I did like now. Like, people was telling, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be really good and all that stuff, and we're gonna get you this." And I'm like, man, it didn't happen. Nobody made shirts or anything around that time, so I was just like, oh yeah, whatever. Yeah. So, I didn't. But if I would have kept the vision of like, that's what I tell kids now, like you gotta know yourself. No matter what nobody tells you, you gotta know yourself. You gotta do the work yourself in order to catapult yourself into that position.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I mean, when as you talk about just where you could be, and you're on a great trajectory.
I really do. Yeah.
You mentioned your knees, right?
Yeah.
So I want to say till I was close to 30, I trained daily 6 hours a day from the time I was like 12, right? And I was on a decent trajectory myself, different because MMA was just coming out when I was like out of high school, right? But I tore my knees, I tore my shoulders, and then kind of took the sedentary life. Ended up working in medical device, and I showed you the school here, the dialysis school that we got in the other office over there. But coming back at 47, it's like worse than day one, to tell you the truth. So don't let it go, man. You've had a pedigree training. Your trajectory's in a really great place. Just don't ever let it go. Don't slack off. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't take breaks.
Yeah.
I know you got to do active recovery and all that, but keep it at that. Don't go like, hey, I've been training hard for half a year. I'm gonna take a month off, because you know what happens with that already. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Have you done that before?
Yeah. So Once I messed up my knees, that's part of the reason why I haven't trained. I mean, I haven't trained and I haven't fought in a minute.
Yeah.
Uh, I was out for like 8 months, bro. I was working. It it was hard. Like even at my job, like to bend down and clean. Like I was working at K1 and I was working at Albertsons. Shout out to my old manager Dan and um damn, I forgot the other one. I'm sorry, but he's gonna be
The
mad.
other man.
Yeah,
Shout out to them
yeah,
both.
yeah. Shout out to both. But uh, they uh, they were willing to help and work with me. But because I remember one time like I would have to go help people if they crashed and stuff, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
would have to run over there and stuff.
yeah.
I remember like I did that and I had to take a break. I'm like, damn, like my knees,
Hurting.
yeah, my knees
Yeah.
are. He's like, what are you doing? You just took a break. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't want to tell him like, oh,
Yeah,
my
I'm
knee.
gonna fall over, and if I keep going,
Yeah, I didn't want to, I'm not no bitch. So I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't just, but I eventually had to explain to him because I kept doing it sometimes. So
Yeah.
I'm like, look, my knees is not the best. It's even hard for me to bend down and clean helmets and stuff.
Yeah.
And I would have to when I stocked, I would have to bend down and stock what's it called, like like groceries and everything, and like pick them up and stuff. It was hard. It was really hard to do, and I thought honestly, I never thought that would happen to me. So
Yeah.
the fact that it did, it just sucked. So
Well, you're invincible when you're young, man.
yeah,
For sure. Like that's just the mentality, right?
yeah, exactly.
High testosterone,
Yeah.
like until you experience it, then you start to think about it, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm sure you think about your knees differently now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I have to be more careful with them.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I'm still able to do what I'm able to do. Like they're good now. If any one of y'all decide to go for my knees, that's a bad
So
bad idea.
when I got I lost all the meniscus in my right
Oh
side,
snap!
and it was drilling.
Yeah.
Tito Ortiz, John Lober, LA Boxing in the days, and there was kind of a newer guy, which now I'm the newer guy, but a newer guy in the gym, and we were drilling heel hooks,
Mm.
and man, he hit it and like it snapped.
Oh yeah.
Ah man, I was so pissed off, bro. Like
Yeah.
because it was just light drill, just motion, right?
Mm.
We weren't live, we weren't trying to prove anything, and he went at it.
Mm.
I don't know if it was because of lack of control or whether he did it on purpose, but like I popped him right in the nose, like immediately, and I was like, what? Like just I was cussing all over the place in that gym. I couldn't go back.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I spent like 7 months with it flipping in and out of the joint
Oh.
before I said, and the same thing at work. Like I'd be able to walk, bend my knee, and then all of a sudden it would just lock.
Yeah.
And I couldn't bend it for shit. And I was an iron worker at that time, a union, a rod buster carrying steel and stuff like this, running with steel. So it really impacted my career at the time, and then impacted the potential of learning more and moving on with fighting at all.
Yeah.
I eventually got a surgery, which now I have no meniscus.
Oh man.
So
Damn, I'm sorry to hear
it
that.
hurts,
Yeah.
but it's it hurts when I guess when we drill and stuff. And same thing, like you said, if anybody touches my legs, I'm just like done.
Yeah.
I don't even want to feel it.
Yeah.
Don't even put it on at all, because I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. See that. I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks because I hate to hear that type of stuff because I know like after experiencing that I know how it is.
Well, no stem cells at that time. So what did the stem cells do, man? Like, did it
Yes.
fix you all up or what?
So what's crazy is as soon as I heard about it, I saw it because my dad said he went out there the first time and stuff. I was like very excited about it because I didn't know that much about it, but I remember what's crazy is like in 7th, 8th grade, we were learning about it and they were just figuring that stuff out then. And what they made it seem like was like I thought like they were saying like, oh, eventually we're gonna regrow limbs and stuff like that and like regrow organs.
Who was the president at that time?
That's a very good question. That was before Trump. It was Obama.
It was Obama. Okay,
Yeah.
so I remember, I think it was George Bush the second one. When they started talking about stem cells and stuff, it was like no way we're ever doing that sort of stuff.
Really?
Oh yeah, I mean
Wow.
stem cell and cloning and all that sort of
Okay, yeah.
stuff. They were like, no. By the way, the clone.
Oh yeah.
What's the clone mean, man?
That's a tough story too. Like, I'm a clone, man. Like it's, yeah. I don't know if you can tell, but Uh, my dad, the story is crazy. He didn't have enough money to do it right, so he had to take a surrogate and embryo and Germany and go from there. I don't want to, it's
So you were
what is
in
that?
vitro fertilization?
Pretty much.
Oh, oh,
No,
that's
I'm joking.
crazy.
I'm joking. I'm
Oh,
joking.
I was gonna
But
tell my I have a son that was in
oh,
vitro.
really?
Yeah, you'll meet him one
No,
day.
yeah,
He's
yeah. Okay, yeah,
11 years old.
yeah.
Yeah,
But that,
man, mess with it.
but honestly, that came from part of it was he was like, oh yeah, you should be the clone because um part of it was him like his idea and I loved the idea, but me just like I what's crazy is like when he was a little younger, even now he has a post on his Instagram like him in a jerry curl. I don't
Uh-huh,
know how I gotta ask him how old he was in that picture. He was probably like 17,
uh-huh.
18. What's crazy is like I'll pull it up like my
Spitting
ID.
image.
Oh, it was crazy. It was
And
like
he was
literally
just I just saw he was telling you got to get a haircut.
yeah, yeah. Man, you can't say that. Yeah, he had a jerry curl, bro. So, but yeah,
Now he's a monk, right?
yeah. I don't like my haircut low though. I feel like it makes me look funny at times, but um and also like pictures. I hate pictures cuz I feel like I look funny at times, but what's crazy is like when he was like around that age 17, 18 to like to now like we look the same. We do similar stuff. We be
Mhm.
saying like even I don't even be hearing the stuff he be saying sometimes, and I used to say that when I was younger. Like we just like people don't know like I could really do an impression of him, and so like
Oh
it's the fun.
shit.
I could sound just like him. I remember one time, Motor Brother, like we used to get in trouble a lot because we used to be like doing stupid shit. But I called him downstairs in my dad's voice. He was like, "Yeah,
Oh
man."
shit.
He's like, "Yeah,
Came running, huh?
yeah." He's like, "Man, don't fucking do that, man." What the fuck? He's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, bro?"
Paco, do we have folks in the chat right now? No. So I see we have some viewers, but I'm just curious if everybody has figured out who this young man is related to. Does everybody know his dad? If you if if you're with us, if you could drop it in the comment, that'd be great. See if you've caught it by now. We haven't called him by name yet. Would you like to give a shout out to your dad by name?
Yeah. Shout out to my dad is Quentin Rampage Jackson.
The legend.
The legend, the man himself, a living legend. Super super grateful to be a son, man. Real talk. So um, very very excited for what's to come. Um, if you have any questions in the chat, please drop them because I barely do this type of stuff. So if you're in the chat, please ask some questions because honestly, I really don't like doing this shit. But this guy is very cool. Shout out to
Thank you, man.
no, real talk. Yeah, you're really cool. So and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks for taking the invite, man.
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
More than I thought. To be honest, I knew we were gonna get some gems here.
Yeah,
And I knew that there's more than what I saw that first day. That face, there's something behind that face, and there's something why you actually treat people. That you're a kind person.
I appreciate
You're a
that.
fun
Yeah,
person.
yeah,
But we all have things that we think about and things that brought us to a certain place.
yeah,
Dad, big influence. You've mentioned that above,
yeah,
big influence.
yeah,
Um, so I think we've called out those two influences in your life. You've
yeah,
mentioned mom above
yeah,
as a big influence, but
yeah.
you've shown so much appreciation to, like, you've shouted out, man, more people than we've ever had shouted out on this
Oh, really? Oh, yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for everybody, bro. Like, just life in general. Cause, like I said, like I didn't think my mom would go like like that, or me being that young. I always thought because she was a little older, so I thought she would go like me, like late 30s or
Hmm.
40s. I was kind of prepared for it, but not like that. It was so unexpected and so like
Yeah,
you know,
that's
it
you
sucked
can't
the
be
way
prepared for that,
exactly.
man.
Yeah, it sucked the way she went. And I know she's a very tough lady, so for her to go like that, I just give her flowers. Make sure that her story is told. You know what I mean? I really don't like talking about that type of stuff, but I feel like I need to because I know a lot of people go through stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep.
And like I said, that's why part of the reason like I want to help the youth, like because a lot of and I really do. I really do enjoy like being there for the next generation and stuff like that. You know, I may not be the most perfect example, because and I don't want to be, honestly, because I'm just human. I'm not
Perfect's not real, man.
exactly,
You
yeah.
know.
So I'm not Michael Jackson. Shout out to, Michael Jackson,
Yep.
RP to Mike Jackson. But I'm not, I'm not the perfect person, but I do my best, and I want to entertain people at the same time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I want to do great in this sport and in the business of entertainment in general. So
I I, I know you're gonna do great.
um,
And I just be honest with you. I'm more excited about your impact on community because you're a good person,
I appreciate
and
that,
I
man.
think that's where your real rewards in life are gonna come. Is
Yeah,
the people you help, the stories that you tell to help people to get through adversity. Fighters, you know them well.
yeah,
You've called out a bunch of fighters
yeah,
as far as role models to you, mentors to you, uncles, father figures. Now you have brothers
yeah,
in the gym,
yeah,
and I'm sure you've been in many gyms where you have brothers at.
yeah.
Um, I'm sure that you're not the only person with a story of adversity from
Exactly.
the fighter set,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Uh, as a fighter, you've talked about adversity in several different ways. What are the tools that you've picked up to deal with adversity? And you've mentioned some of them could be weakness at a certain point, right?
yeah,
Which imperfection is human.
yeah.
Um, what are the positive tools that you've picked up to deal with these moments in life that we'll all face, but whether they be their personal choices or those things that we don't expect, or the things that we get drawn into?
Mm. Um, I would say reading. Reading is one of them. Praying, I pray a lot.
Mhm.
I do my best to pray a lot. That's the biggest thing, is honestly is God, honestly. Like um before, like we I could talk about all day, and uh how I got like a relationship with God and stuff, but like I know some people don't like it. I have friends who like I understand where they're coming from. Like one of my friends, like, oh man, I just there's just people that just talk about Jesus, just I get all that. Some people
Mhm.
make it like cringy
Yeah.
or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be, but what's crazy is like the way the world's going right now, like we need stuff like that. And
Mhm.
and I know everybody has their own opinions, their own religions, own beliefs and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
which is fine. And I think we should all come together at some point with that, because we should all respect each other's beliefs,
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree
um
with that more.
yeah. And I'm a humble person, bro. I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot in a short amount of time, and I could have been like, oh, I'm Rampage's son. I'm not like that, because
Yeah.
I like I said, I know what it's like not to have shit,
Yeah.
and to have things that most kids don't have. So
Right.
so I'm very appreciative of that. And I've been I had homies and people that don't have as nice stuff as me. So I'm like,
Mhm.
damn, I really sometimes we take the smallest things for granted. But
Mhm.
um uh the world right now is not in a good spot. I in my opinion, with like with the term, God and religion and all that
Yeah.
stuff, like
It's always been the thing that wars start over, right? I
exactly.
mean, and the worst wars.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, with the stuff that's happening in with Palestine and all that stuff. But
Mhm.
I just feel like I do, in my humble opinion, I do believe there's a God, because I experienced it. Like I can't even name off the top of my head like one example, but there's certain stuff that happened. I remember even my grandma on my mom's side, like RP to her, she said one time before she passed that she like fell or something in public, and some dude, he was drunk, he just came over and was like,
Yeah.
like
Probably couldn't take care of himself, but he was able to take care.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
I
she
feel
was
you.
at first she was like she was trying to fight him because he was drunk, but he was like, no, it's okay, don't worry, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
And she said he just walked off. She was like, she told me, she was like, see, that was God. I'm like, okay. And I used to get in trouble a lot, so I used to have to like shout out to my auntie and Sinitra and my grandma on my dad's side. But I used to have to read the Bible when I used to get in trouble. I used to hate it then. Like I used to hate. I'm like, come on, man. Like,
So you mentioned that there was a point where you were introduced to God
yeah, and
from family.
yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
that's part of it. Like I remember my granddad, on my dad's side, he used to take me to church every day. I used to live with him too, like in Memphis.
Hmm.
He used to take me to church, not every day, I mean every Sunday. And I used to at first I hated it. I really did. I didn't like it. I was, but they always did. I remember one time like they would always like have a moment of calling on God. I'm like, oh, where's he at? Like I wanted to physically see like
Yeah. Yeah.
because I didn't believe, the Holy Spirit, people catching the Holy Ghost stuff. I didn't believe that. But I started seeing like as I got older, how it was like working in people's life and in my
Yeah.
life. You know what? I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I'm cutting you off.
One example, which is this is one of the craziest things that ever happened to me, is when when I lived in Memphis when I was like 10, I saw two dudes walking down the street and talking. And I promise you, it's the one of the craziest thing. Like uh I I got in trouble and I had to live there again when I was like 15 or 16. In that same spot, the same two people were walking down that street and they were
Mm.
talking. And it was the funniest thing because I looked at them, I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
that's crazy.
And they looked at each other and they looked at me, they're like, damn, we seen that dude before. It was the
Hmm.
crazy. I was like, okay, I know God's real then.
Yeah, no, I
Because
feel you.
it was once I saw that, I was like, wow, I just couldn't believe it. And then just certain stuff that happened. Like what's funny is like one time too, I was with my mom. She has family in Memphis too, and somebody was like just shooting. There was two people just shooting guns and stuff, and like I ducked down, like, and I was really depressed because I don't want to be in Memphis. Like, come on, I
Yeah.
used to live in California. Like, why
Yeah,
would
yeah, yeah.
being in
Tough.
Memphis?
People always ask me why I'm in California. It's like, have you been there? Like,
Exactly. So they were shooting, and then her friend was like, "Get down, get down." He was in the army, so he knew, like, he
yeah, you can pick
he
it up.
probably felt like he was in Vietnam again or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
But he was like, "Get down on the ground," and like a bullet hit the tree, and then it was like in slow mo. It was like a movie. Like I was running, I tripped over a rock, and I promise you, like a bullet like grazed my head
went
and
through
went.
your hair.
Yeah, like it was the craziest thing. So I knew I was like that was the only thing. The only thing was God, because I could have died then. I was like, oh yeah.
Another half an inch or an
Yeah,
inch or you. Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah,
so, because at the time I was like, man, like I was asking God, like, why am I, am I supposed to be? Because I wasn't supposed to be here, bro. So
yeah,
I'm like, why am I here? Like, why, I'm like, just, because I wanted to leave then. I was in Memphis. I didn't want to be there.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So that's why I have that in my bio. That's, and I was in church
So
for
what's your headline in your bio again?
God first, bro. Like, always keep God first. There's, I know you see like it's a lot of famous people and stuff. I don't want to, it's a lot, but the other side, the evil side, the dark side is real. All that stuff is real. All that stuff is very real, and the light side is real too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
I've as a kid I knew it too, because like I used to watch a lot of cartoons, and they would always throw it in our face and stuff,
yeah,
and you would want to question it, but once you see it in real life and they keep throwing it in your face, you're like, oh, that shit could be real. That
yeah,
shit's real. So
yeah,
there has to be a God. There has to be a Jesus if there's a devil, and they keep throwing the devil in your face.
yeah.
So
You
yeah,
know, I tripped out because, like I said, I went to Metro. I just got back training for probably some dark reasons. Some dark thoughts and the need to get healthy more than physically, which that's a plus, the healthy side, but more mentally, spiritually, right? And I wasn't prepared, but I think I said first night I stayed for the whole practice, and Antonio said, let's, everybody held hands, and everybody just been beating the shit out of each other, and let's hold hands. And I saw the guys, and this when I saw everybody in different light was there was like I felt like more excitement for that moment than there was through the whole practice,
yeah,
to where it's a great way to introduce people. I think
exactly.
Antonio and the
Yeah,
coaches there, that they're 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 doing a transition type of work there
yeah,
of people that are in some cases on those thoughts or on those paths or
yeah,
in that darkness, and just introducing them.
yeah.
It's not they're not cringy at all.
Exactly.
It
Yeah,
was the end of the practice. Like you
yeah,
gotta stay for the whole practice for it.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
But it was just enough, man.
yeah,
And I gotta tell you, it got to me.
yeah.
It really got to me, to where
That's yeah,
I felt the same way as what you say. It's like, you know, maybe I was here for more than what I thought.
exactly. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
That I'm excited by that. I
Yeah.
want to stay the whole practice as much as I can.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I've been hurt a few times already because
Yeah.
this whole body, but great conversation, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you sharing with us. I'd like
Yeah.
to bring one of your teammates in if that's
Oh
okay
yeah,
with
yeah,
you.
yeah, for sure.
You guys all know him. We had a great podcast. I don't know, maybe about 6 months ago. Uh, the Prince of Cambodia. He's also a Muay Thai fighter, an MMA fighter, somebody that I think gives a lot of guidance and
For
is
sure.
also still learning himself
Yeah.
as well in the gym. His name is Sovan Kesa Som, the Prince of Cambodia. Welcome, Sovan. Do we need? We don't need headphones, do we?
My bad. That's my shit.
So the reason, I asked Sovan to come back on is, obviously I'm new to the training again,
Yeah.
and I really want to get into kind of the nuts and bolts of like who you all are training with, what's exciting out there right now, what are some of the upcoming fights for you, and the fight history.
Yeah.
So we can have a little dialogue in that context of the true fighters, but you guys are both leaps and bounds ahead of this old guy here. Team Body Shop, you gave all the credit in the world to Coach Antonio McKee, his son Antonio AJ McKee,
Yeah.
who is world champion as well, right?
Yeah.
I guess former Bellator champion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only one loss out of how many fights? I can't remember how many
about
fights.
20, about 25, 26 fights.
Yeah.
26
I believe.
fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is a group of lions, a group of champions, legacy fighters, right? I mean, you with father who's a legend, AJ with the father who's a legend, Sovan who's got a long line of fighters in his family, and I don't know everybody yet.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Team Body Shop. Why Team Body Shop? Legacy fighter. Why Team Body Shop? You go in there every day, sometimes twice a day, I think. Sovan, same thing.
Mhm.
So let's start with you, Sovan, since you're just joining us.
So, hello everyone. Savan Kesasam, Prince of Cambodia.
Yeah, man.
But of course, also thank you for having me
Hey.
again. Of course.
My son-in-law, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. That's dope. Too, yeah.
So for me, Team Body Shop, honestly, one of the most authentic, most rawest MMA gym you can honestly step foot into.
Facts.
When you step in there, it's just nothing but just authenticity and just nothing but just raw.
Oh.
Uncensored. Everything about the gym it's what you want out of a gym, right? You get the best of everything overall. Stand up, grappling, wrestling, just anything. When you hear about mixed martial arts, Body Shop.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was introduced to Body Shop while I was in high school. Actually, I'm a friend of AJ McKee. Shout out to AJ McKee. Shout out to Team Body Shop. Shout out to Raja, of course.
Appreciate you, bro.
And AJ was the one who told me to come by and train. So Antonio heard about me long before I even stepped into the gym. Just about this little bad Asian kid, fighting in the alley, in the streets. I was, like I said, I was a bad kid growing up too. And when I finally stepped in, I was like, yeah, this is where it's at. This is where I need to be. This is the spot. Because, like I said, everything was uncensored. Everybody was raw. Everybody was always real with each other. It was never no fakeness or behind the back this, behind the back that. Everybody was always real with each other in the gym and outside of the gym.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Why Team Body Shop?
He honestly he took the words out of my mouth. Pause, but yeah, he described it perfectly. Like I couldn't say it better myself. Honestly, I always wanted to train with them. I love all the other gyms and stuff I train with, but I just felt like Body Shop was where it's at. Honestly, so
Is it home?
yeah, honestly, yeah. So I've been wanting to train with Antonio for a long time, and once I finally did, I'm like, yeah, I knew it too. I'm like, this is where home is. This is dope,
Yeah.
So There's no other team like them. You know, and then everybody, obviously, we all keep God in our lives with them, and we're like a family. You know, so that's what's cool. I know other gyms is like family too, but we have like a bond that's a brotherhood, I would say. You know? So, and coach is like a father figure to all of us. You know, so
that's clear, man.
Yeah,
like everybody got massive respect for that guy.
Exactly. So,
and you know, I'm damn near close his age, but he's leading me the same way.
Exactly. And we all learn from him and his family, and you know, his family is so dope. His wife, everybody, his youngest son, AJ's brother too, Jordan, everybody is so dope. And I learn a lot from Mason. He's only 6 years old. I learned a lot from him too.
Focus, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's gonna be trouble when he get older.
He's gonna be a beast. You know, he's gonna be a beast. But and with Savant too, when I first met him, I always thought he was cool, bro. Like, real talk.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And with this camp, you know, he was a very big help for me. You know, in every ways you don't even realize. Like, real talk. Like, you gave me really good advice, and you always did when I first got there. You know, because when I first got there, like, I was a little like nervous because I knew everybody was really good, you know, and I haven't trained in a while, and everybody was kicking my ass, but he was always giving me good advice and always telling me, like, y'all just keep going, just keep doing it, you'll get better, like, just keep going. You know, so
let's talk about high productive teams, like high performance teams.
Yeah,
you know, that's gonna follow your lives forever. Like, you have jobs outside of fighting, right?
Yes.
And it translates into fighting as well, and to the teams in fighting, right? And I think probably a lot of our jobs could learn something from teams like Team Body Shop.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk. You know, what's a high performing team from a fighting perspective, from the brotherhood that you guys just described? What's a high performing team? And then on the inverse of that, like, what's a dysfunctional team? Let's start with you, Sylvan.
So I think for me, in my perspective, high performance team would be like, for one, of course, I think it comes down to a number of things, right? Or for one, if you don't have a team that's like a brotherhood, right, or like a family, where's the bond? How do we learn off each other if there's no bond between each other, no connection, right?
So trust,
yes, loyalty, trust between each other. Another thing is too, it's commitment, not just from your team, but from yourself. Like,
so accountability,
yes, accountability. How are you going to put forth your accountability, your commitment, right, to yourself and to the team? Because you know, at the end of the day, you can train with your team, you can train hard, but if your teammate's doing 100 and you only did 50 when you're supposed to do 100, how are you really accountable? You know. So it's like, and you know, of course, another thing too is work ethic, right? Not a lot of people, you know, and this is no hate, and I'm not putting anybody down, right? Everybody has different type of work ethic, right? And it doesn't come overnight. You have to build that, because work ethic also comes down to mentality as well, right? What is your mentality like when you're trying to build your work ethic? Discipline, right? Having discipline, the discipline to be able to keep yourself on the right track. Because, well, I mean, not even just being a fighter, but just even working out in general, you got to have discipline to be able to get up, go to the gym.
Young guys teaching, you know, talking to me right now.
Pushing the weights, or just even doing the workout in general, right? You got to have the discipline. You got to have the mentality, the strong mental state, because it's not for everybody. You know, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it.
That's right.
So I think it comes down to a couple of those things, as far as, like, you know, a high performance team, commitment, accountability, work ethic, and just trust between you know, the brotherhood and the family. Right. And also too, having a coach that you can trust as well. Because if you don't have a coach that you can trust, right, do you really believe in the system? Do you believe in your brothers? Do you believe in the team?
I love what you just said, because you mentioned seeing Coach Antonio McKee do some shit that, you know, defies gravity or physics with a much larger fighter.
Pretty much.
An excellent fighter, and, you know, I'm sure today as well, but in his time, he was top of his game, right?
Yeah.
So does that help knowing that your coach has been through the trenches?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you know, they've
Yeah.
done it. They're not just saying this works.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the whole thing about guidance from parents too, right? Like, hey,
Yes.
don't do this. Why? Because it messed up my life,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to go through the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's great. What do you say about high performing teams? If anything different?
It's funny. He just keeps he says like the perfect things to say. Like I can't really say.
Let's
it
go
any
to
better.
dysfunction then. What's a dysfunctional team?
I would say a team that's always competing with each other.
Okay.
But not in a way of just trying to like hurt one another. Like I've seen what's it called, like a post or a video of one of I don't want to put his name, I ain't gonna put nobody's name, but one of their teammates knocked the other teammate out. And I feel like he's done it on purpose, or they'll try to like hurt each other on purpose. Like that, I feel like that's a dysfunctional team, or a team that has a whole bunch of like drama within each other. Like always, always just competing against each other in a
So
way.
is it ego there?
Yeah, ego. Exactly. A team with a bunch of ego. And like the reason why I like our team, because we're not a flashy team. We're not a huge team, or we don't have a whole bunch of like flashy guys on our team, but everybody's pretty much like a killer, you know what I'm saying? Like a really a fighter.
Yeah.
And we come together on a lot of stuff. We'll help one another if we need help.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we'll probably have our days with sparring or whatever the case. We'll have friendly competition, but at the end of the day, we're like, look, you was doing this wrong. You need to do this. We'll help each other on it. So
does it need to be fluffed up? So when I think of dysfunctional teams, right? Like one of the things that I've learned over the years is like fear of conflict. I watched you have a banter with AJ last week, I think it was, or maybe it was this week, about push-ups.
Yeah.
And man, it drug on for a while, and you took it with humor, but at the same time, you kept doing push-ups.
Yeah.
Until he was kind of satisfied. So is productive conflict, is that important to you guys, that you have people that will, when you talk about accountability, will say, hey, no, do it right? And do they have to fluff it up? Do they have to be nice about it?
No, hell no. Yeah. Okay. So you can elaborate.
I mean, if we're being completely honest, the world is not nice.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
What kind of world would we live in? We're constantly going around thinking that everything's gonna be handed to us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
The world is not nice, and I think that, like I said, I'm not putting anybody down or calling anybody out, but at the same time, it's like the world we live in now, I think, is a little soft.
Yeah.
And I think we've steered away from being able to face the truth head on, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know what it's like to face the truth.
Yeah.
And in this aspect of teamwork and fighting, becoming a fighter and athlete, you got to get it straight on, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't do us any good or do anybody else any good if they're gonna sugarcoat and just allow you to be able to half-ass yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't do you any good. It's just, it only hurts you, and you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're not getting nothing out of it but just half-ass work.
Yeah.
And just half-ass performance.
Yeah.
You go through a training camp half-assing their entire time, you're gonna get a half-ass fight.
Yeah. So when you get razzed, I think I mentioned it to you like one of the first days, and maybe you said it to me, it's like there's a lot of shit talking. Do you go home and like appreciate it, or do you go home and like, man, so and so was laying into me, and like you get butt hurt by it? How do you deal with that?
I really don't. Honestly, I don't care, because at the end of the day, like I appreciate coming from him, because he's doing it. He's done it. So I appreciate him for even just giving me the time of day of just helping me out. Like, I feel like that's help.
People don't mess with you if they don't care about you, right?
Exactly. So if they don't want you to do good, they won't say anything. So I just appreciate him for just helping. I feel like that's help. I don't care, like, because I grew up around my dad. He was the same way with me. You know what I'm saying?
Always messing with you, huh?
Yeah. So and he was like, oh, you got to do it right. If you're going to do something, you got to do it right.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. It makes me better. It makes the team better, and I just want to be a good asset for my team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and a good training partner for my teammates. So if I'm lacking, like, or if I'm not doing it right, I want to be, make sure I'm doing this shit right.
Yeah. I my first job out of high school, I was a union iron worker. I worked with my dad and my uncle, and man, I was like 150 pounds and working with beasts. You know what I mean? Lifting a lot of iron, and my dad told me, like, if people aren't messing with you, they don't like you. Like, if they're not talking shit to you, if they're not like all day long, trying to piss you off, it's because they don't like you. I'm glad that I had a lot of people talking shit to me, like my whole young career, right? But I'll admit that at that time, it was hard for me to
deal with.
I had these emotions and this level of anxiety or testosterone that, like, there were times where I wanted to fight with people, and that's not what it was. It was absolutely them trying to see me be better, work smarter, to work harder, to turn into the journeyman ironworker that I was supposed to be, right? And you guys are journeyman fighters, so you're dealing with that every day. I can see the appreciation from all. I mean, I watched that. It was really, it was great entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's like a big brother, but like he's always on my case. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate it because it makes me better. You know what I'm saying? He just wants his team to do better. Like, honestly, like you said, like, we, back then the body shop when he was training with them too was way different than it is now. Like, they used to do a whole, I ain't gonna tell like their training regimen, but they did way more shit than we do now. You know what I mean? So like they were way tougher then than the generation before me. His generation and up was way tougher than.
Is that crazy, man? How old are you, Sylvan?
I'm 30.
You're 30 now. Oh shit!
He's still
so
young,
you are getting old, man.
Yeah,
getting old.
Yeah, but he's still young. But like,
I'm just kidding.
But his generation is like him and AJ, like they're tougher than my generation. Like, we have to, like you said, like it sucks to say, but like we have to step up and do our part. Especially, like, I'm speaking for myself too. You know what I mean? So.
The more luxury, the more convenience we have,
exactly,
like the softer we're gonna be, right?
Yeah. So, but I'm still learning. I'm still, doing the best I can to become, who I want to be.
And I mean, that's all you can do, bro. You know what I mean?
Stay a student, right?
Consistently, just stay a student. You know what I mean? No matter if you're black belt, whatever you are, you a 10-time world champion, it don't matter. As long as you constantly stay on a path of wanting to be open-minded, and constantly learn, man. You used to stay a student in life. It don't matter what it is. You're always going to continue to be better. Like, like, look, like, at the age he
old
is,
guy still trying,
still open-minded, still wanting to train, still wanting to learn. You know what I mean? Like, and you at your age, like, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
No, I just turned 25.
You just turned, bro. You're still young. You got a whole life ahead of you. You know what I mean? I'm still young as well too.
Yeah.
Honestly, everybody in this room.
I'm young.
Yeah.
You're still young, of course. Everybody in this room, we still got a whole life ahead of us.
He's like, no, he ain't young.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, whether it's my generation, his generation, your generation, it don't matter. I think is at the same time is that from your generation, I think is we still have some of those people who still have that motivation, right?
Yeah.
And have that drive. Like, you have that drive. But you know where it comes from? It's from experience, right? A lot of people don't realize this, and a lot of people don't understand this, but when I say that, within life comes experience, right? How you move in your life, it all comes, the things that happen to you.
Yeah.
Right? The things don't happen to you for no reason. It happened to you. It made you the man who you are today. Is because of the things you went through.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right? That's for sure. And I can say that personally too.
And for sure, be grateful for those experiences. We can always look back and be like, man, I wish I never went through that. But at the same time, it's like, look at the man you are today.
Yeah, that's true.
You may not have a lot, right? We may not have a lot of material things, but we're winning at life. Right?
Yeah.
You're successful in what you do. He's successful in what he do. I'm successful when I do. Right? It don't matter. Having $1 million, it don't matter. We're rich at life.
Don't point at me, man.
We good. And as long as you continue to have that mindset, to continue to want to keep going, and you keep learning, bro, like you're gonna be better than a lot of people.
Man, I appreciate that. I really do, man. Coming from you, it makes me.
Did we lose the stream? No. Good. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
makes me Makes me happy to hear that, man.
Yeah.
So let's continue on Team Body Shop.
Okay.
First fight I get to go to, man, I was so excited to come see you.
Yeah.
It was still an exciting night.
Yeah.
I mean, it like if you see the video, Sovan did a bunch of interviews actually. Man, this guy's going to be a caster.
Yeah, he's gonna be dope.
But if you hear some of the videos, I was just like, holy shit, in the whole time. So your teammate, Jake, the Barbarian.
Yeah.
Babian.
Yeah.
Right? What the fuck, man?
I know, bro. He's doing it, man. He's shout out to him. He helped me through my training camp too. He's one of my partners that I train with. He came a long way from when he first came in the body shop too. He was already really good though at jiu-jitsu and stuff, but the funny thing is just seeing him grow as a MMA an MMA fighter. It's just cool to see. Yeah, he's a beast, man. Like he's really cool. Like it's dope seeing him just keep climbing the ranks and doing well. I really do appreciate him. He gives me a lot of pointers in jiu-jitsu and just MMA period. He helped me through my camp. He was one of my training partners. So I just really appreciate him too. And just the whole team, man. It's just really cool to be on the team.
So I mean, shout out to the referee who saved that guy's
life.
Oh yeah, man, that guy was he was gonna die.
Yeah. Like, that shit was crazy.
That and Jake is like one of the nicest guys.
Yeah.
Like super humble, but man, two fights that I've seen him so far. 21 seconds total between the two. Like, what the hell is that, man?
Yeah, like I said, it's the team, man. I don't know what else to say. And him and his work ethic.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
man.
he's came a long way. Like I said, like when he first got there, he was already, like I said, he was good at jiu-jitsu, but the other aspect, like the hands and all that, he was
picked it all up at Body Shop.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man, that was exciting.
Yeah.
The opening fight was David Matos.
Yeah, shout out to him too. Yeah, he's
great performance as well. Take us through that, Sylvan. Like, what were your thoughts on that fight?
I mean, honestly, for his performance, it didn't look like it was his first fight.
No,
like you could tell his hands.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. His hands were good. You could tell that his opponent. Well, look. First and foremost, shout out to his opponent.
Yeah.
All respect to you. You know, win or lose, no matter what. Always respect to anybody who steps in the cage.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but it was when you're in that type of heat, like what do you do?
It took him how long to close his eye? I mean, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and his right eye was closed just about completely.
Yeah, that left hook hit, and it's just boom. David, he fought his fight.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he had his opponent, on tippy toes, on eggshells.
Yeah.
And so, basically his opponent was just at that point just trying his best, to
he hung in for the whole,
like I said, all props fight. To him.
Yeah. So and a young guy, right?
Yeah, young guy. So he still has a long way to go.
Met his dad at the bar. I had a drink that night, just to let you know.
Yeah.
I had one drink and met his dad and before the fight, and I didn't realize he was fighting David. Nice guy. You could see all the pride in the world in his dad's face. My son's going to be the first fight. And like you said, props for getting in the octagon and then hanging through the whole fight, despite a dominant performance from David.
Mm-hmm.
I got to say, one of my favorite fights of the night was also Pepe Miller.
Oh, yep. Grandmaster P, Pepe Miller.
Yeah, man. And super humble guy.
Yeah, very humble guy. Mm-hmm.
But man, the first kick he threw, did you see this fight?
No, I didn't.
Man, he threw this laser sharp, a left leg roundhouse.
Yeah.
And man, you didn't even see it. And he smacked the guy in his head. I was like, how the hell is he still standing up? And it's the same way he finished the fight. He clocked him again and opened up the bottom of his eye, and there was a stoppage. But great fights that night.
Yes.
I know there's a couple fights coming up real soon here over the first couple weeks of June. You guys know who's all fighting?
Oh yeah, one of our guys, Adrian Segovia. He's undefeated right now.
Shout out to Adrian.
Yeah, shout out to Adrian.
Hopefully he'll come over. I seen him do a podcast recently.
Yeah. He I most definitely will. But he's really good too, man. He's a beast as well. You guys should definitely check him out too. He's a very exciting fighter.
He's a cool cat too, like
very,
calm.
Very calm. Very very what's it called, like very stylish in the way that he fights and stuff. He's like I call him Adrian or Magomedov because
Yeah.
he's just like them, bro. He's
a
like
mauler.
yeah.
That dude's wrestling is just
It's outstanding. Yeah.
So I know that's a lights out production too, right? In San Diego,
Yeah.
they're fighting.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
yes.
also Lucas is fighting
Yes.
in that one as well.
Lucas.
Is
Yeah.
that, if
Shout
I'm
out
not
Lucas.
mistaken?
Yeah. I don't know if he's fighting lights out. He's probably fighting out in the next knockout card.
Oh, is that the one that's in
LA.
LA. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a
Yeah.
few fighters. I
Yeah.
just realized Siwa's fighting there.
Oh snap! Yeah,
Oh,
shout
yeah.
out to him. I didn't
Shout
know
out
that. Yeah, he's been training for a while. We always talk. We always chop it up. He's always positive. He's one of the most positive people I ever met in my
Nice
life.
giant, man.
Yeah.
So
He's-
I ended up on
he's
the
a
other
beast,
end of
too.
him the other day and ripped a rib.
Oh damn! Yeah. You gotta be careful going with him. He's
That's a big guy.
He's heavy handed too. He's very strong.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that because,
yeah.
like, you know,
Me too. Yeah.
just being able to roll with him, and he's a really nice guy. But when we roll, you can tell he's deadly serious about what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I just saw I think on Instagram that he's going to be up there. So
Yeah.
shout out to Siwa.
And
Who else is fighting there?
probably
Peter Parker.
Peter Parker. I don't know.
Well, that's his nickname, Peter Parker.
Yeah,
but
shout out to him,
His real
too.
name is Isaiah.
Isaiah
Noah
Perez.
Jackson's fighting
Yeah.
there as well.
Nice. Yeah. We got some good guys, man. Like our amateur team, like don't sleep on our amateur team too. Like they put on a really good show almost every time. Like
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
Shout out to Matthew Ingram too. He's an up and coming amateur.
Is that Mateo the Great?
Yeah,
Mateo the
Yeah,
Great,
man,
yeah.
stylish,
He's a
stylish.
beast too.
He's a guy that I always see you working with. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Great.
shout out to Mateo.
Yeah.
Shout out to all our amateur fighters at
Yeah.
Body Shop.
Yeah.
If we haven't mentioned your name, of course.
You see Abby fight last week?
I didn't see. I saw clips. Shout out to her. She's wonderful. She's dope.
It's hard.
Yeah,
Very hard.
Seriously, yeah. It's,
Very
Abby
hard.
Montes, right?
Yeah.
Abby Montes.
Yeah.
Abby
Yes.
Brave Montes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a great fight. I
Yeah.
got clips of it, and yeah, she did a great job.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Got a mean left hook.
Oh yeah, man. You gotta be careful going being in front of her too. You know.
Well, let's ask the magic question, and hopefully we got answers. When's the next bout for you, man?
So for me, I'm looking towards the end of this year, and possibly the beginning of next year. I just got to get my weight down first. I'm not gonna say where I'm at. If you want, you can put in. You can try and guess what my weight is at.
Give us your height
in
at
the
least,
comments.
man. What's your height?
All right, so I'll put it between where I'm at right now. I'm gonna say between
Your height.
Oh, my
How
height
tall?
right now.
Yeah.
Okay, my height right now I'm 5'7".
All right. So how much is this guy supposed to be weighing?
Yeah,
And
how
you
am I
probably
supposed
can
to-
look him up and see where he's been fighting.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're heavier than where you usually fight.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. How about you? What's coming up?
So shout out to the UFL. Shout out to Harrison Rogers. I really appreciate the opportunity to them. Shout out to Lights Out. Everybody at Lights Out, man. I really
For sure.
I apologize for not. I wanted to put on a really good show. I really love their production. I love everything about what they do. I always wanted to fight on their card too, because of my teammates. I enjoy fighting with my teammates and training with my teammates for the same card and the same camp. It makes it more easier for I think everybody and the coach and stuff.
Yeah.
But the UFL, they're having something soon. Probably sometime around August. I don't know the exact date. I don't want to say because every time when I do, honestly, like something, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but so that's what I'm looking forward to right now. I'm just relaxing. Fuck off. You can fuck off if you know what I'm saying. I need to, just clear my head, because when I went through this camp, I was very like excited and anxious at the same time because I was ready. I haven't fought in a minute, so it was very tough mentally because everybody is in my ear talking about this and that and the third, and then everybody was wondering like when I was fighting. I trained pretty hard for that fight, so I just want to. I know we're talking about like don't take breaks, but I just wanted time to just give myself just prepared for a next
Breathe.
the next exactly. So. So that's what I'm looking forward to is a UFL event. They're going to be in Orange County for I think this is the second time. So I'm excited about that. So look on my Instagram whenever I'll post about it. Obviously,
Give us your Instagrams, both of you. What's
Okay.
your Instagram?
Rampage Junior the Clone. You'll
Rampage
see it.
Junior.
the obviously Rampage.Junior_ the clone.
We'll
So,
get it in the edited
yeah.
version of
Yes.
this. We'll put it in the
Okay.
description.
Okay, for
Yeah.
sure.
How about you,
And
Soren?
mine is the Prince of Cambodia.
Prince of Cambodia.
Yeah, so just look out for that. Yeah, and then hopefully Lights Out would have me fight for them again. I would love to, cuz you know, I feel like I let a lot of people down. You know, I didn't fight for that show yet, and it was here. You know, they have stuff locally,
local.
so
Yeah.
and a lot of people locally wanted to see me fight because UFL.
I'm one of them, man.
Yeah, and I
but
appreciate
you
that.
didn't let me or anybody else down. Like
Yeah.
that's out of your control.
Yeah,
And you know, when I think about a professional, like you got a raw deal, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
as
I
far as
appreciate-
the professionalism of
Yeah.
your opponent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I appreciate that. I really wanted to put on a show for everybody. But the UFL they mostly have stuff in Arizona, so I don't get to fight out here locally as much as I want to.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for them to have this next show. So.
All right, last question, and then we'll close this out, guys. It's been a long night for us. Yeah. Targets. Like, do you have a target? Is there somebody that you want to get on the other side of? And are you willing to share that with us?
I can go first.
You know what?
I'll go ahead.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So for me, I do have two people that I would like my rematch with. It's with Babacar Kill.
Okay.
That was for my second MMA fight.
Mhm.
And for my third MMA fight, I would like a rematch with Michael Redmond.
Okay.
Again, you know, no hate, no beef, but I would like my run back.
Something to settle up.
Yeah, something to settle up, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just something to prove to myself.
Yeah.
You know, just yeah, so if you guys are watching this, again, this is no hate, no beef to y'all, but I mean, I would like my run back. So,
you know, I just got to point it out that at the Lights Out event, and by the way, I was really impressed with the production as a whole. Sean Merriman, right?
Yeah, shout out to him.
Great production, great professionalism, great commentators. You know, we enjoyed. I forgot his name, Saul, maybe. The bald dude that was dancing. And, it was great entertainment, right? But when we were there, you had a former opponent that fought, and I've never seen somebody that was so on the side of a former opponent. Like this guy was like big time supporter, man. He was like, you know, calling out, like, you know, kind of coaching from the side, rooting for him, and that speaks volumes about you as a person.
Yeah.
How about you?
The only one right now is my first fight, Steven Collins, Scuba Steve. I would love a rematch with him, man. He's doing his shit right now too. He's undefeated. But yeah, I would, you know, same thing, no beef. He's a cool dude, cool, really good fighter. I respect him, but I call him out. You know, he's basically my rival. You know, he's the only person I really I lost to, and yeah, so I would love to run that back. Obviously, I gotta fight first. You know, I gotta get a fight. You know, and
get back on board.
Exactly, and this other dude that pulled out, like he shouldn't run away from me like that. So I would like to you know, get one in with him, and well, anybody, you know, they put in front of me, really. So
I want that for you too, man, because I think that's, you know, that's just a bad deal. And I talked to you afterwards, and I saw how much you wanted to put out that night, you know. So
we should make it happen.
I want that for you too.
Yeah, so we should definitely make it happen. Put on a good show. You know, I respect all my opponents. You know, every single one of them, because I know how hard it is to just get in there.
Yeah,
I respect any fighter that gets in there, no matter who it is. You know, so I know the pressure. I know, you know, the process of just getting in there. So I respect all fighters who get in there and who gets in the gym and just do it. Like, I know how hard it is to get up and go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. Guys, I really appreciate you both joining us tonight.
I appreciate you guys.
I can't tell you how much more I got from this than just you as a fighter, your legacy. I really got a lot about the spirituality that you carry.
I appreciate that.
The overcoming of things that don't serve you or things that hurt. You know what I mean? That you're pushing forward for the right reasons, man. And I would encourage you to continue to share your story with those that need it.
Appreciate that. Yeah,
You can do a lot with that story, man.
Yeah.
A lot. And Sovan, you know, I just got to shout out that you got a Prince coming.
Yeah, congratulations,
way,
bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
So really soon here, Sovan and my daughter are going to be bringing my 4th grandbaby.
Hell yeah.
And I think we got a name already, right?
Yes, I do.
What's the name?
So he's basically gonna have my name, Sovan Kessa Sam, but his middle name's gonna be Prince.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh,
yeah.
hell yeah.
So he already told me that he's gonna be a trouble.
Oh yeah.
On the other side of that, on the other side of the gloves, or on the other side of the ring, right?
Oh yeah.
But guys, man,
thank you so much for having me, man.
Appreciate Of course, thank you,
guys. We'll share all these handles and maybe some fight footage links or things like this inside of the final editing. Again, thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah.
Sign out, guys.
Sign out.
Thanks, Paco.
Thank you.